Welcome, everybody. Welcome in, Average Game Noob. Hope you're doing all right. Hope everybody has had a chance to boot up LaunchBox, play a few games. I know recently I just had the urge to play Mega Man 2 and beat that game for the first time since I was a kid and had the NES cartridge. Hey Andrew, Scarmy, welcome in. That was something to just get through just the nostalgia of it all, playing through a Mega Man game for the first time in a while, getting through all the retro achievements and getting the beaten status on retro achievement, you know, all the good stuff. And it's always fun when you can have time to play through a game like that. Anyway, for those that don't know, I hope everybody has had a chance like that recently in their lives, because that's why we're all here. Anyway, my name's Brian. I am the product manager, if nobody knows, here at LaunchBox. This will be one of many streams that I'll do in this time slot, Thursdays, 1 p.m. EST. I will be here basically answering all of your burning questions, talking about things behind the scenes that are happening on the team in LaunchBox, going through any kind of troubleshooting issues that you might have. Just overall doing some theming stuff, hopefully, which I will be doing today, which is something that I love to do and don't get to do enough of. I'm just talking about what we all want to be here and discuss. We can talk about hot topics, feature requests. We can talk about what's coming down the pipeline. Maybe we've got some ideas that we want to see inside of LaunchBox, and we can talk about those and get into the process of fleshing out some ideas and really talking about what it all takes to go from an idea all the way to an actual feature that people will use, cross our fingers, because that's really the goal, just to have fun and to create something that we would want to use and that we use every day. Talking about LaunchBox, let us open it up. Anyway, I hope everybody's doing good, and I am going to jump into some of the things that we've been doing. For the people that are up on the latest beta, which I believe is beta 2, I'm going to say. We are currently working on beta 3, and that is going to introduce a bunch of new features. But for people that are not on beta right now, we did update. Let's see, we updated the under the hood framework from .NET 6 to .NET 9, bringing with it all the new goodies that us developers can use to provide a better application. We also changed the way that the game details pane in LaunchBox loads. So I believe after the first load, it will never refresh the entire panel, which is what it's been doing up until this point. It just throwaways this old panel and creates a new one. Now, instead, it's just refreshing all the bindings that are on the page. And with that comes, a nice performance boost there. And so if you haven't tried it out, you can always download the beta and try that out. And what is coming down the pipeline for beta 3 is, I guess you could say, one of the largest changes to underneath the hood of LaunchBox since probably LaunchBox became a thing, which we're going to change. So every single version of LaunchBox actually comes with its own local copy of the game's database, which is used for a ton of things in LaunchBox. And the way that we do it now is it's a giant XML file on your computer we include one inside of LaunchBox, and then one of the first things that you do that require that file, for the most part, not every action does it, but it'll update that file so that you can have the newest changes to the games database available through things like importing your ROMs, the related games feature, downloading, importing storefront games, all that sort of thing uses that file. And so before, in order for that file to be speedy, we had to put that file into memory. So that's why LaunchBox uses quite a bit of memory. Most of that is that LaunchBox database file. Okay, beta 4, that's what I mean, Joe. Of course, who remembers these days? And so beta 4 will have this change where we go from using this XML file to switching that to an actual database, which we're using SQLite for. This will not change your data files, your library. This will only change that local database file. Now, why is it beneficial to have it as an actual database versus a giant file of information? I mean, it's the way that the XML file works is that it's pretty fast, right? But in order to achieve being that fast, it always needs to be in memory, or else it would be not fast, right? So, when the games database came out, it was relatively new, wasn't that large. Over the years, it's become bigger and bigger. As LaunchBox keeps going, the cycle is that file will just continue to be bigger. The database will just keep getting more and more games. That file will become bigger and bigger. Eventually, that file will become so big that it probably is not better to load that thing into your memory. And that's why LaunchBox will continuously eat up more memory and more memory every single release, because that file will continue to become larger and larger. A database file makes it so that we no longer have to do that. We no longer have to load that into memory to achieve similar performance gains while parsing that file. And so the first thing that you'll notice in this new beta is that memory usage will drop down. And we also needed to load that file on startup in some circumstances. Basically, this is a games database file, Andrew. So it's not your collection, your own collection. All those files are still going to remain XML files, but we might change that in the future. We'll let you guys know ahead of time when that decision comes down. But for now, it's just the local games database file, which is on every version of LaunchBox. It's the thing that makes importing your games super fast. If you look at really how fast importing 1,000 games can be. And we're doing quite a lot in that import. It's not just import file, take file name. We're doing a lot of massaging and that sort of thing. During startup, we will load that into memory for most users, which will take longer and longer the larger this file will get. As you guys keep adding games into the games database. The related games, and hey, Special Inc., welcome in. I'm glad you can join. If you were to click on the related games feature and you had the option to include games that are not in your database, the way that we accomplish this is through that file. It's not in your library, I should say. So we can list games that are like, hey, this game that you have is similar to this game that you currently don't own that you might be interested in. And that definitely uses that file. You'd click on this thing and it would bring up, the database file of it so you can find out some information about it. And maybe that's one way that you can discover games that you didn't know existed that might interest you. And so for this process, if that wasn't loaded in memory and you were to use this feature, it would never load. Just like you just hear your computer on your hard drive being like, yeah, we're still parsing this file for you, just hang on a second. Using SQLite will make that feature faster, or we can get it just as fast without the need for it to be on your for the entire database to be on your in your memory. It'll be the same. So not only does it reduce memory, but it'll also reduce the amount of time that LaunchBox takes to start, because now we no longer have to load that into memory, which is, I would say, the majority of the time that LaunchBox takes to start is loading that into memory. So it solves a number of problems. Then now that we're in, we've got this as a database, all of our previous logic was to use this XML file. And so, we put in a whole bunch of stuff that tries to make parsing that XML file faster and as fast as possible, that we can make things appear as fast as we can for you guys. Well, we no longer need that anymore, right? It's now a different kind of database, but there's a lot of those kind of very specific things that use that we're expecting XML file that we could still use for the database, but it might not be the most optimal way to use it for this SQLite database. So even after this update, it puts us in a position to make other parts even more optimized and more faster. So it puts us in a pretty good position. Now, because this is sort of like a foundational element that LaunchBox was built on, a lot of code had to change. A lot of things needed to change under the hood. So we're hoping beta will squash anything that comes up, and we'll see what happens. But that's coming in the next update, along with a few other fixes that came down through got uncovered through the binding refresh. I believe there's a few more elements that need to appear that weren't before. I think star rating was one of them. This graphic wasn't quite working, and there's some badges here that used to appear that should now appear now. Yeah, that's what's essentially been going on with Windows. Has anybody done anything cool with their build of LaunchBox recently? I'm trying to remember if I even have my Mega Man. No, I deleted Mega Man. This is my this is my dev build. Well, look at that. Kind of wonder now that I'm in this sort of Mega Man mood. There's a lot of games, and I don't think I ever played through 7 and 8. Wonder which version would be better, the Sega Saturn version or the Sony PlayStation of Mega Man 8. That'd be an interesting idea. I'm kind of in the Mega Man mood these days. Well, let's see. What else have we been working on? On Android, it's been a lot of fixes. We did release an update. Microsoft kicked us off their platform, basically. That's the wrong way to say it. They were decommissioning Xamarin Forms, which is the underlying framework that we were using to build that application. And they wanted everybody to head on to their new greatest thing, which is called the Maui framework. So we did the work, got it out, and this next release will be a lot of the fixes of coming from that sort of giant framework update, along with a whole bunch of quality of life enhancements to that network attached storage feature. If you guys haven't played around with that feature and you use LaunchBox for Android, that has been a beautiful feature that has really worked out well. And this beta, the beta that's out now, which I think it's beta 2, but I don't know, Joe will probably tell me it's beta 3 or something, will really finishes that feature off. Really basically allows you to host all of your games on your own storage device somewhere else, and through the network you can, like on your little tiny device that has very little storage, you can import all of those games, and then you can download a game when you need to play it. And Andrew, you still have the rotation problem? Yeah, we have not been able to recreate that at all. I know you had it on your phone. I think it was a Samsung. I mean, I've got a Samsung device over here, a Samsung tablet over there. We use I don't even think I have it open. No. We use an emulator as well. I've got a Pixel device here. I've got a Retroid Pocket device over there somewhere. I'm trying to think, what else do I have? Yeah, we got enough devices to go around. So I when you posted that, I went around to all of them, and I kind of wondering what's going on there. If it's the way that your data is being stored. I can't see that being the case. This is a little weird. And you were using just like the regular theme, right? Just the banners theme. But if it's only happening with your data, have you tried to do it without any library in there? And Chunky, you love the network storage feature? Yeah, I wish it also worked with MAME. But I guess if you know MAME, you'll understand why it doesn't. I would love to get it to work. I think the first problem is that users would need to understand and know, and then provide us the information up front of which kind of set that they have. That's, I guess, problem number one. So once we have that information, then we would have to build a way to parse a full set of data and be able to tell not only the game that it needs to pull information for, but all the files, the dependent files that's specific to that version, to be able to also pull that down as well, including CHD files, which would be a beast to do as well. And then keep them sort of stored and collected, and then we would have to know all about all of that information so that we can then delete it off when you don't want that game anymore. And I think it's possible. It's a lot of work just for MAME. So it's on our list. And hey, Sully the Monster, welcome in. Interesting. Wait, do I have I'm just gonna do this for you, just so that I understand. Like, you are simply doing this, and this, and this, and this, and it's breaking for you, and this, for some reason, as this, right? Nothing else? Am I missing something? See, the problem with a thing like that, like an issue, and when somebody brings an issue, like not entirely your issue, but first thing we check is, oh crap, is this a global issue? Is this an issue happening to everybody? Yes or no? We take a bunch of devices, or we take a bunch of builds, and we test the exact scenario that we think they're having problems with, and the kind of more detailed reproduction steps that we get, or the closer we can get to that, or else there's a lot of guesswork. And then, we do this. Now, in your particular case, your problem is, I rotate and it breaks. Sounds easy enough. So we rotate. Does it break? Yes or no? Oh, okay, it's not breaking. Let's try a different device. Let's try different data. Maybe we'll try no data. Maybe we'll try tablets. I've got an emulator here that takes forever to open. I wish I had it open already. I really shouldn't be using Nox Player. If anybody's watching this and they're like, oh, let me try this program as well. Don't try this program. Instead, get a program called Genymotion and use that under the personal license. Much better experience. The only problem is I have all of the stuff set up for this emulator right now, and I just need time to transfer over. If you really want to have Android on your Windows PC. Let's take a look. Okay. Yeah, Scarmy, it could be a specific version of Android, it could be a specific flavor of Android. It could be the Android API that device is particularly using. But I mean, right now, you're saying it's a Samsung device, one of your devices. It's using Samsung OS. What is it? One UI, one OS, whatever they call it. That's using a specific version of Android and a specific version of the Android API. It's a kind of a mess. Okay, so here's... Do I have LaunchBox here? I do. All right, we got some games in there. It was going to be funny, but... Ooh, okay. Trying it. Come on, break. Maybe if I go in here. Break. Gonna break this time. Come on. Come on, Henry needs the help. No. Yeah, very strange. Indeed. And Chunky, how are you getting on with sharing saved games between the platforms? When you say between the platforms, you mean from like a Windows build to an Android build? Yeah, there you go. So that is still in the plans. Right now, we have to build out infrastructure. We want to do this in a LaunchBox way. We don't just want to say use like your own cloud service or build your own web server or something like this that's going to facilitate the, like, we can't tell our users to be like, yeah, just build your own server and bring your own cloud. You can already do that, right? Like, that is a thing that people have been doing for many years. You could use SyncThing and do your own like local cloud transfer thing. You could do Dropbox or any of those kind of cloud service where you just point to a specific folder for your save files and do the same thing on your Android device. So what we're doing is we're basically trying to build the infrastructure into LaunchBox itself to basically say, we will take care of your save files. You're able to manage your save files. You're able to tell which games have save files. You're able to have some save file history there, just in case you wanted to bring some of those, have an old version of that save file that you regretted overwriting or something like that. We're building that out. We're also refining the UI that we currently have in the Windows to better facilitate that kind of transfer. And so we're kind of at that point. So it's still ongoing behind the scenes, for sure. And Sully the Monster, you want to say thank you? Well, thank you for using LaunchBox, and glad you could show up to my stream here to say that. I'm glad that you're enjoying LaunchBox Premium. And yeah, I'd love to know all the things that you love about it, all the things you don't love about it. All right, Andrew. I'll let me open up that. Open that up right here. All right. Is the video gonna show off anything though? That. Can you also post, and I'm just looking at this, the API versions of those two devices? Should be somewhere listed in your options, probably under like the information about Android sections and stuff like that. Not sure if it'll help, but it's something else. But if it's essentially just you doing this and it's breaking, like unless we have a device that it breaks while you do that, that would be unless we can reproduce it, that's tough, unfortunately. Yeah, but it'll say something like, well, let's take a look. What would it say? It would say, and then maybe think about, I'm not sure what would be similar between the two, like Galaxy and the Mi device, because they drastically different operating systems on them. Maybe think about some settings that you use between them that you like. Maybe you went into the options in both and you adjusted something that they both have a similar option for that could be causing that problem. Like who knows what it could be? It could be like you went into you unlocked developer mode and you turned something on, or even in the regular display settings you turn something on that might not be on by default, or something like that. That information could definitely help. What won't help is if you say, I just leave everything at stock, I don't touch any of my settings, because like that's what we do. That would be tough to So in the About Phone section, software information, let's see, is that listed there? You know what, it might not be listed there. I'm gonna fumble around this Android options menu. There's definitely a place that you can find which API version you're on. You could Google that probably. Oop, I said Google that and Google thought I was talking to it. Anyway, moving on. So yeah, hopefully we were able to solve that. If anybody else has any problems like that, I'd love to hear that. What is next? So I talked about Android. a couple other things that we're working on. I know if you're still there, Scarmy, we are working on a smallish but big update to the game's database. We're improving the framework of the database. That seems to be a common theme around here, and we didn't even think of that. We are basically trying to make the technologies that we use more modern on the game's database to facilitate things that we want to do in the future. We trying to make it more robust, more secure, while also trying to provide more features that we can do, and then of course expand the database with more data that we want people to then fill out. We did a small amount of this already, so if you look at the game's database, a couple things that you're not going to see. Okay, here, the game's database. The live games database. Few things that we're doing is that Astro Bob, our community manager, is out collecting people or expanding the game's database platform list. That's something that we have to do. There is some technical challenges to that, not really from just adding it to the game's database, but we laid out some guidelines on the forums. Let me bring the forum over here. I'm going to say that it's in here, and I'm going to say that that's incorrect because I don't see it. Maybe we put it in here. Oh, there it is. So help us expand the LaunchBox Games database. Under the LaunchBox Games database section of the forums, news and updates, if you have a platform that you think deserves to be on the games database, this is your chance now to follow these guidelines, make a post. We'll look at them and we'll add them. From there, we will review all of them, which we've done somewhat right now. We did our first pass, and we have new tools to allow us to add platforms fairly simply to the database. And you'll see here, Bandai Supervision 8000 is now a platform in our database. It's got a grand total of 0 games, but I'm sure that this will fill up quickly because this platform only has 7 games. But it's good that it's there. I'm sure people will get on there and add the 7 games that this platform had. Now, from this point, what our job is to be able to do is we make sure that this name is the way that we want it to be, and because it's harder to take back if we screw up this name. Everything else seems okay. We attach some settings configuration to this name so that if you imported this platform into LaunchBox, it will import just fine, go into the correct category section, all that stuff, and like the games will have the correct type of information that it needs to be to launch their games, kind of thing. You might have to do some configuration inside of MAME, well, I guess not MAME, inside of a command line to make this platform work, if I remember correctly. But from there, we have to make sure that we're going to have to build a minimum, I think, of 3 graphics that we have to include in both LaunchBox and LaunchBox for Android. Right, we want to make sure that we have a clear logo for it. We want to make sure that it has a platform icon, so you can see very small right here that says Bandai Supervision 8000, and there's a little platform icon for it. API level 34. Okay, good information. So we have to make sure that we get a clear logo for it that's going to appear here. It's also going to appear in Big Box. We haven't gotten that yet. Excuse me. Then we have to make sure that it's got a banner inside of Android, the Android app, and we could also make sure that's got a banner / box, depending on which program that you're in. And I think that one is probably the optional one. I want to make sure that it has at least the first 3. And so if we add, let's say, 5 platforms to the game's database, that means that we have 15 pieces of media to create and add into 2 different programs. And you see, it's a little bit of a process, but something that we take on. Now, when I say we have to create these media, I really mean I have to create the media, because there's really nobody else to do so. So that falls onto my plate, and I schedule it so I can do it someday in between all the other stuff that I do. And so that's basically hanging on my plate. We chose Bandai Supervision 8000 because it's relatively low risk. We can use our new admin panel to add it, make sure there's no bugs. Very few people are going to want this platform in their collection, although I don't know why. I mean, it's like a historic platform that everybody should add into their collection. But I guess just people don't have the history for this platform that was like probably only sold very few. And is this the one that was only available in Japan? I don't even remember. But we also have a list of, I think, 3 or 4 more that we also are going to add. So that's one thing that we're doing on the games database. The second thing, and where did my games database go? Okay, is we also added, if we just go into this 20th Century Video Almanac, we added a thing behind the scenes. Oh no, we added the ability to add 3 more image types that are probably not populated yet at all. So it doesn't matter for you guys yet, but eventually, like what are these 3? The first one is a poster. The poster is essentially going to be used if you wanted a unified box. So it would be the image type that forces users to upload a 3:2 aspect ratio image for the box. And if the database was filled up with all of the posters that were 3:2 aspect ratio, and you chose, I'm going to download the poster and use that as my primary box, then everything inside of LaunchBox would be the same height and width. And you would get that sort of uniform look instead of getting, the original boxes. So then both kind of sides of that camp can prevail. We also do the same thing with Square. That seems straightforward. It has to be 1:1 ratio, aspect ratio, in order to upload a box for this type. And then icon, like a little tiny icon for the game if you want to do that. And right now I don't think that any themes utilize the icon, but the game's database, if it ever fills up with icons, then we have the ability to use them. And then there's the ability to lock fields that only a select people have the ability to do. So if we decide that the name of this and this genre or this developer is correct, we can be like, okay, let's lock that field. Don't allow anybody to mess it up and change it. We kind of finally have that ability to do that. So that came in kind of semi-recently. And then on top of that, what we're doing is adjusting the game page, like I said, to something that utilizes a more... we took everybody's feedback. I think when we first had the other design, a lot of moderators or people that contribute to the database it looks prettier, but the information is more spread out. So this design is supposed to like be the best of both worlds. Let's keep it pretty, but condense the overall information that people can see more clearly. We'll also remove the need to have two separate pages from the information and the images, which now has a nice little panel here that you can click on and go to all the different media. The media is more clearly labeled into a specific image type section. So moderators will hopefully, or people that contribute to the database will hopefully like that change. We also have a better and more fluid submission system. So you can submit more than one image at the same time. All that good stuff. You have the ability to adjust all the information plus the media plus this lock fields thing won't be available to most users, but I think eventually we would love to expose that to a new kind of super moderator level that currently doesn't exist. And then this framework uses the front end framework uses something called Vue.js. I might be saying that wrong. And it's a more modern framework, and it allows us to really make things a lot faster. It loads things super fast. That's correct. Okay, good. I got the seal of approval that I said that correctly. And we can really advance the database, hopefully quicker. I love this new little like box that gives us a little bit of results, the first top 5 results, and then you can click show more and it'll bring you to the page that you currently can use. That currently happens right now, and everything works for it. You can say something like Super Mario Brothers, but platform needs to be the Super Nintendo. So yeah, if that works, maybe not. Well, there you go. Can I click? Oops, it just went away. So definitely some things to work on there. But we're getting very close. The added collection, I think you could do both. Can't remember now. I think you would have to type title, but I could be wrong. We'll get that fixed. Probably not a big deal. The added collection, I believe, remembers now which game is in what collection. So I believe this collection called This Is a New Playlist that I titled, because it's a different color, that means that it's already in that collection. And I can add it here as well. There you go. And we probably need to add some like toast notification or something saying that we just added that. Or you can create a new collection or go directly to your managed collections. Create your own little collection there. Well, I think we have a short list at this point where once we are done that short list, this can go live. We also have like more under the hood changes that are going to come, like having the ability, we built out a framework that will, it's probably the wrong word to use. We built out the infrastructure to allow these images to exist closer to, on a server closer to your physical location. So if you ever found that the games database was a little sluggish due to images loading or something like that, at least this page should utilize that new infrastructure and load a heck of a lot faster for you, on top of the fastness of just this new, more modern Vue.js framework, front-end framework that really prioritizes performance. Really, it's been fairly jiffy for me, which I don't think anybody should use that word to describe something speedy. So let's go back in here. There you go. Yeah, we're using Cloudflare to store those images. And that is the first step to getting those images more central to your location, wherever you are, so that it can then download inside of LaunchBox faster. More work to do on that front, but first step is this. So things are looking to speed up. All right. Other things going on. Let's see. The last thing that I want to talk about before I jump into what I'm actually going to do today is let's take a look. Everybody loves Bitbucket. Look, I'm not even signed into it here. Where am I signed into it? Has anybody ever submitted a feature or bug report here? Well, we are getting rid of Bitbucket. This thing will haunt no one anymore. And we're replacing it with something more modern, something that will allow users to better track any requests that they have, will allow us to keep track of feature requests and better provide insight and even provide better like design, be more open with the design decisions around issues, be able to take an issue and bring it all the way to a feature, and it'll be all there. Well, it'll also keep track of our bugs in a way that doesn't like combine bugs and feature requests. Right, Andrew, right? It just goes into the pile of about, who knows, 237 pages, 6,000 results. And unless the feature gets either highly voted, I would say this: someone on the team read all of the requests, and it was probably me, at least once. And so unless it gets like highly voted or something like that, or it's like a huge global crash or whatever, it remains here. We go here, try to go every day, and go through, read every single thing that we get, close down the things that try to like do cleanup, basically. Like that's all we do at Bitbucket. We do our rounds of cleanups. Anything that stands out as far as a feature request, we write down. We make sure that it's on some other list. So what's going to happen is that we are switching to something. Okay, where was it? Feedback. It's not quite ready yet, although I think people can go to it now if you want to. Oh, on Bitbucket, users could vote. I think it was used maybe 8 years ago, more often than not, 7 years ago. But because it's separate, users have to have their own Bitbucket account in order to vote. I mean, the devs could vote, but it's open to anybody that has a Bitbucket account, really. A lot of times you submit a ticket, and maybe you fell for this, and you don't even vote for your own request. I see that a lot. And there was a time where it was just me posting like over and over again, don't forget to vote for your own request. Don't forget to vote for your own request. I see that there's 0 votes here. Don't forget to vote for your own request. So what does this new system provide us? Well, if anybody remembers the stream that happened 2 days ago of Josh building out a single sign-on server and service for us, one of them is the things that will benefit that is this new service, which will essentially allow you to log in as your games database account. It'll be almost instant. If you're signed into the games database on the same browser, you can just hit the login button and it'll just sign in. Yeah, so you would think that there would be an auto vote for your own request thing. Yeah, Bitbucket is not a good service. So this one will auto vote for your own request. So we got that. There's a lot more tags and things that we're building out that will allow us to organize things a whole lot better, both public and private tags, as well as be able to provide status updates to it, better commenting features and stuff like that, better features for the user as they're submitting it. You can see there's going to be 3 kind of main buckets with the LaunchBox for Windows, LaunchBox for Android, games database. And when you submit a ticket or this little card thing, there's a lot of things that you can assign to it. I think those are all moderator stuff, but there's going to be a lot of things. I think you submit your idea, you're assigning tags to it, it asks you a few questions about your feature idea, and then we can be there and we can comment on it. So as we build this out, it will allow users to feel more heard, and it will allow us to better to facilitate with the tools to respond and keep things appraised of what we were doing. And so we're on our way. This will have a soft launch fairly soon, so definitely look for that. We are in the middle of this will also allow us to build out fairly good documentation as well. And so we have a few of us working on some documentation for the service, and it's something that will be able to grow naturally over time as people looking for just that static one direction help of just, I just need to read something and just to understand it kind of thing, whether it's for purchasing licenses or all the way to building themes to just using LaunchBox for Android and some random troubleshooting stuff like that. So that's in the works, and that's coming soon. We're also revamping our moderator system. And by moderator system, I mean the mods that you see in either Discord or the forums. And there'll actually be a way to apply if you want to become a moderator and dedicate your help. And we're always looking for people to do that. And we'll actually have rewards for those people for being part of our team. You'll get feedback directly from us. You'll get direct access to us to ask questions, that sort of thing. You'll be able to also see behind the curtain much more frequently. So we'll get that going, and you have like discussions directly with us, maybe with design ideas and that sort of thing. A lot more there is coming, and that will also get a soft launch fairly soon and be out in the open for anybody wanting to join. Yeah, the brave souls that moderate the Discord channels. That's right, ED. So that is coming very soon. And then, what else is going on? Astro Bob, or Andrew, he has a troubleshooting post that he's going to come out with, I think, tomorrow, something like that, which is like troubleshooting launching games. People that have problems launching games, which will explain sort of the workflow of what LaunchBox does to get games to launch. And so the goal there is to make it so that users will be able to be like, okay, check this first, check this second, check this third. Does all of this kind of line up? Is this linking to this, which is linking to that, right? Is this game linking to the file properly, which is linking to the emulator properly, and the emulator has the right command lines, and it's sending out this, and which is normally like 80% of all user problems when they say they can't launch a game. It's a good question, Andrew. Do we plan to migrate user requests from Bitbucket to the new system? And we've debated that heavily behind the scenes. And there's two camps, right? I mean, either we do, we don't, we do for some things. I guess that's three camps. But the problem is, so if you're on the camp of, well, let's just have a fresh slate. I mean, the pros are, we can do it faster. We don't need anybody to spend months and months sorting through 6,000 tickets. We can do only the top ones, but those top ones, Bitbucket's not clean, so someone's got to clean out. These requests are either not actually required anymore, they were done already. There's some smaller ones, or the people that requested them have long gone and they've got 0 votes, and maybe it's not even like 5 years ago you kind of wanted it, but now it's not really a problem anymore, kind of thing. And so someone would probably, it would take a very long time for someone working full time to get through that list. So there's some cons there for doing that. It would also make it so that instantly this new service would become super messy, and it would only migrate the base information, right? Like the title, comment, but not actually organize it for us through all the new tags that we need, all the new statuses that we apply to it, and that sort of thing. So there's some heavy, I don't think we'll do a one-to-one migration, or else it doesn't really solve anybody's problem, our problem or the user's problem. We also want to prioritize the users that are here now. Like you are here now, you have a request over on Bitbucket. Maybe you still want that request. Maybe you still want that feature. Maybe you have 5 requests, but you really only wanted 2. So you come to this new one and maybe you have a better, more elegant way to describe it. And the systems are in place that allows you to answer a few questions that you can better let us and people know why the use case for that is so wanted and needed. And without any of that, all you have is 6,000 requests that really have no advantage. That makes sense. Then there's the argument for, okay, bring over the top 100 that are voted on. But then that's a problem too, because nobody's been using that voting system for many years. So how about all the people in the last 5 years that haven't been using voting system? Like, you didn't even know that you could vote on these things. So we're basically bringing over really old requests where the user is probably not around, and maybe these requests again are so old that they don't need to be solved or have already been solved. And so a lot of manual work would have to be done to figure out where's that line? Where do we stop at that line? Is it 100, 200, 500? And then how do we filter the ones that are first already done? And then filter those that maybe aren't needed. So it's something that we've thought about a lot. But I think if the users around, they've got a feature that they think a lot of people would like, that what we're hoping is that you would post an updated version of that on this new service, utilizing the features of this new service that weren't around on Bitbucket, maybe more eloquently stating what the feature is and its use cases, and then we can have discussions over there. There's all sorts of utilities and features over there that allows us to facilitate that and have discussions around it and be able to mark things better and have it more organized. And so there's a heavy argument to not bring anything over, but we'll see what we can do. It's not on all done or nothing as well. We can always have a soft launch where it's out. I mean, there's work to be done behind the scenes as well. Once the actual service is up and running and it's sort of at a state where we're happy with, we need to change links on the websites to point to these things. We need to change the link here. I think that we have a report an issue link that's got to be changed. I think there's a few others that we got to remember that we got to change and point to. And then that'll be sort of like a soft launch. And then from there on, we can always bring some requests over if we feel the need. I think that's probably what we would end up doing. But yeah, that's, I think, quite a lot that's happened. A lot of stuff has happened in the community as well. Some themes have come out. I talked to Dan Patrick the other day. He's still kicking around. If people don't know, he's the guy that created the that giant platform logo pack that's on our forums. I talked to him about a few things. I'm glad he's still around and doing his thing. And what I'm going to do today is look at the banner box theme, which I haven't looked at in a very long time. There was a post that I saw recently that basically said, hey, I'm using the banner box theme and I have a marquee, and the platform marquee kind of looks funny. And so let's go into big box. And then I realized, you know what? That does kind of look funny. And it's because of what I do in big box that really, I'm basically using the banner, platform banner override to facilitate the banners. There we go. Let's bring big box over so that you guys can see it. There we go. And let's turn down these sounds. Ooh, it's a nice sound, right? Okay. Trying to figure out how to even show this to you guys. So the problem with this theme, and maybe I don't even have this theme, so let's go as I talk about it and let's download banner box. This banner box uses these custom banners that I created a very long time ago, and overrides the current banner / box. You know what I didn't do? I set up all of my mappings and then deleted all of my settings to test something for people. Let's do this. We will, might as well set these up. Let's remove a few of these that I don't need. Don't need to exit. And I think there's one other. Let's get rid of that one. I think we're okay. Okay. So I can go in here and essentially switch to the banner box theme. There we go. There you are. Hello. Look at that. There's a whole bunch of banners that don't even exist for the platforms that I've set up. Guess I should really update these banners with all the community ones that everybody has created over the years. That's fun. And there's kind of two things that I want to do today. The first one is I'm going to optimize this theme. Maybe I should at the same time during the next update include more banners. That was pretty funny. I could also work on actually displaying something when this happens, when there is no banner. So I can do that as well. So let me mark this down. So I'm going to fix the platform marquee issue. I'm going to make a default banner for the platform view, so there's always something that appears. I'm going to include more banners from the community. There's been a lot of community created banners over the years for platforms. I will do that. And then I will optimize the theme to run better. And there's sort of one thing that I want to do there that will hopefully give some performance results. All right, so let's start with this first one. Look at that. Anybody need like so many different versions of LaunchBox? This is here so that if anybody asks, I'm on version such and such. And this is a thing. I can quickly back that up if it is or not. Okay, so let's take a look in my themes folder, banner box. And sure, I will just open it in Visual Studio 2022. There it is. There's quite a few views here that I'm seeing, but we will start with, what can I do here? So here's kind of the problem with the platform marquee. The platform marquee, if I look at the default theme, platform, look at how many more files there are. The way themes actually work, for people that don't know, is we will use, okay, let me open this before I comment on that. Platform marquee view from the default theme right here. So the way themes work is, let's say your theme that you created a like in this one, you created a like horizontal wheel. I think it looks like this has 3 horizontal wheels, 3 platform wheels, a system view, a text filters view, a text platform view, basically, a text games view, and a text list view, which basically tells the text games view how the list would look, the style of it. But look at the default theme. It's got 72 items, minus these ones, plus all of these override ones. But it displays 69 files of theme stuff. But mine only has 11. So what happens if a user uses a feature or that needs something, let's say like the keyboard, for example. I'm going to bring up the keyboard here because I want to search something. Well, the banner box theme doesn't have a keyboard, so what is happening here? What happens is the logic of LaunchBox theming engine says, oh well, banner box doesn't have a keyboard view. Let's fall back to the default theme and use that instead, because we know 100% there's going to be one for the default theme. If Bannerbox got a keyboard view and I made changes to it, it would use that one instead. So the majority of what you guys think of as themes, more than likely 80% of that theme is just using the default look of that. Like a theme would have a platform view, a game view of some kind, and if you're lucky, a text list view of some kind as well. And that's it. Everything else of all these 69 other views will use what the default theme looks like. So if you were like a really good theme developer and you wanted to really have your own look and feel to LaunchBox, you could dive right into all of these files and really change up things. Like if you wanted to change the look of the options page or that pop-up that says please wait, you can. And there are themes that kind of do that too, right? If you went to the coin op, for example, you have this system menu where you get to choose the section that you want. All of these like 20 sections if you wanted to choose sources, statuses, series, and all that stuff. Looks like this, but if you go into the options menu, you could also choose to change the options menu to look like anything that you want, which not many people do. And even this coin op theme probably only touches a handful of files. Well, that theming engine is quite extensive. So what happened to the platform marquee? We basically I don't have a platform marquee view. It's defaulting back to the default one, and it's just using that. So what does that one look like? Why is that a problem? Well, in Bannerbox, I'm utilizing these banner things to just display like a banner by overriding the current platform banners that LaunchBox comes with, or that you can apply to a platform if you wanted to. But if I were to look inside of this file, wherever you are, or see, well, what is the thing that displays inside of this default platform marquee? The first thing here at the bottom, it will display your banner image. And so the problem is we can't do that because I already like override what that banner looks like, and that banner is now this thin little banner. And so all of your marquees would be this thin little banner. And that's a problem. So let's fix that. How do I fix that? I need to pull a copy of this as a starting point, and I'm going to drop it in my banner box folder. So now banner box has its own platform marquee view. And I'm going to remove that entirely. All right, we are no longer going to do that. Do I have anything pointing to that? I do, right here. This is saying if the platform doesn't have an image, I have a banner image, then load this image, and this image is a clear logo. So I don't actually need that. Let's get rid of that. This becomes now the first thing that appears. What is this one saying? This one says if there's no logo image, and there is a background image, do this one, okay? Now I have to remember why there's two of these. I remember that there was a reason. I don't think it's necessary though. And let's make sure everything about it looks similar. Okay, this one's not using the image cache system, interestingly enough. All right, so I don't need this, which is the banner condition. It says if there is a logo image, I'm assuming that this is background image. Yeah. Display this background image. I mean, at this point, why are we even doing this? So what's going to happen is we're going to use this, simplifying this. We're always going to use a clear logo. And we're always going to use a background. And depending on the user's options, this background could be platform specific, if set, or I think it can fall back to a game background if a game in that section has a background, so that there's something in there. And I believe that's a user option. All right, so that should solve the platform marquee issue that people were seeing. All right, done. Let me cross that off my list. Number 2. Make a default banner for the platform view, so there's always something that appears. Okay. Is it possible for marquees to have GIFs on it? Yeah. Or GIFs, however you say it. Yes. Do I recommend it? No. For some reason, and just to bring you through what happens in the WPF for all of Microsoft's glory, building WPF, and the library that we're using for these GIFs. What it does is it loads every single frame into memory. So as the thing loads, it goes, oh, there's a GIF. This has 25 or 100 frames. let's load each one as a different image. So load all the way to 100 image. All right, we've loaded it all in, and like this thing's now like giant, like maybe even larger than a video. And now let's display it. So it displays it, and what you find is like maybe like one GIF is okay. But if you're on the screen gonna have, I think I made a theme that had 10 or 15 GIFs all at the same time, and it takes forever for that view to show up. What actually is lighter is a video. And you can have videos in marquees. You can also have every single binding that we currently have appear in a marquee. Any metadata that you want, any image that you want, you can have it just appear in your marquee. You just have to create it. You have it appear like in a nice spot. I think there was a time where I made like a nice game marquee. It had like the name and different things appear, different fallbacks. I don't remember if I released that or not. Yeah, not in my memory. Short answer, yes. So we are... All right, number 2, we want to make a default banner, which basically means we want a banner to appear regardless if there is one. Focusborg, welcome in. It's been a while, man. You've been ditching all these streams. I haven't really streamed that much, so you ditched like one of my streams. What gives? I'm just joshing you. Let's take a look. What would that take for me to have? Things are good. Things are good. I'm so happy that I get to spend this time talking about LaunchBox, especially the theming engine. If you have any questions about the theming engine, please let me know, or anything else. If anybody has any questions about anything to do with LaunchBox, write them out. I will be happy to answer them. Yep. I 100% use that on purpose, Mr. Nibble. I have a recipe to cook duck legs. I will send it to you. No. I did say if it has to do with LaunchBox. Or did I? I don't remember now. It only was like a few seconds ago. You're probably right. I probably left it open-ended. That was my bad. Let's do this. We 100% can make it so that the black screen of death in this view shouldn't happen. How do we do that? I have not opened. I don't even know which view am I on actually. That would probably help. Platform wheel 1. Okay, so we'll start with that one. Platform wheel 1. All right, look at that. I created this theme Tuesday, August 3rd, 2021. You can definitely have recipe books inside of LaunchBox. Oh, that should be the next April Fool's. LaunchBox adds cooking books. Cooking book support. You're only thinking about making that? You should just do it. Like don't even research, just do it. LaunchBox does lunch now. That's a good one. Introducing LaunchBox. All right. Okay. So what can I do here? What can I do? I am going to start. I mean, how big is it? This shouldn't be that big. It's only 459 lines, which is not that bad when you look at some of my other themes. What I'm looking for is the cover flow, which is essentially the wheel. This theme or this view is I mean, it's 400, almost 500 lines, but all it is a giant wheel that just goes like this. Give me a second. Chunky, could LaunchBox add a feature where game manuals get downloaded by request? And by request, you mean in bulk? Or even, let's say, inside of LaunchBox's like game download box that you can make appear on a per game basis, something like that. The good news for you, if that is what you're referring to, is that you can already do that. Now let me quickly show you what I mean. As I also read this code. I'm gonna have to change out a lot of this code. All right. So, oh, and I didn't, give me a quick sec. No. I need to probably sign into this. I've been messing with this dev build quite a lot. So I'm assuming I'm not signed in. I am not. All right. Okay. There we go. And hello, Kays. Welcome in. Glad you can join. So you have the option, and I'm hoping I'm not jumping the gun here, to either download en masse, like in bulk, during like an import or during the actual. And yes, this is all paid Emmy movies. They're the ones that store manuals, and we're just utilizing their service. Or you can go on a per game basis. You're like, I don't want to download like 40,000 manuals, but maybe I just want this one here. You could edit this game, and this section here, let me see if this also, oh, I canceled. Yeah, I probably shouldn't do that. Does it show up here? There it is. Manual. So you could click that, and it will just download this one. There it is. Cybermorph. Now let's turn that down a little bit. So, there it is, manual. 3D, the 3D Battles of World Runner. Ooh, look at that. We need to know exactly what all these controls do. If you press the button A while simultaneously pressing the controller up button, you will jump for a long jump. All right. Anyway, hopefully that answers your question. Yeah, Cybermorph was pretty good, right? You know what? I haven't watched this video in a while. Let me spend a few seconds actually watching this. All right. Yeah, Cybermorph is good times. ED, yeah, who prefers long or short startup videos? I don't mind either. And I usually use more than one startup video, just have like a whole bunch of ones that'll just shoot off and you can press a button at any point to cancel them if you want. Okay, let's take a look. Okay, here we are. We are in LaunchBox. And we want to make it so if there is no banner, like this. Uh-oh. I am on a beta build that I probably shouldn't be on for this. There you go. Wonder if I could quickly change that. I broke it. I'll never use LaunchBox again. You know what? I really shouldn't be on this build. This build's not out yet. All right, here we go. Look at this. If I wanted to just switch, let me do this quickly. Get back onto beta 3. Well, it's actually like somewhat production ready. Maybe I gotta go all the way back to 13.18. Guess we'll find out. keyboard cat to play in the background. All right, so what I'm actually going to have to do to make it so that I can have a default view. Let me think about this. So the way that this is coded, this wheel, so this is basically like, this is the wheel. We called it flow control. It's got all of these properties, right? Visibility count, like how many items should appear at the same time. What's the curve amount? Well, I don't want a curve amount in this theme. Page size. There we go. How many items that that users will jump if they hit the page up or down button, kind of thing. The camera's position, the item position, selected item position, the spacing between the items. I set an actual resolution override to make these things not look like crap when the wheel's so big. And that's it. All these settings are the old wheel settings. So what I'm gonna have to do, I feel like I did it on the game view at some point. Definitely did it on the game view. Is we remove all of this stuff and we put in a template that basically says, here's the wheel, what do you want each item in the wheel to look like? And that was added in 2021, which is why it says up here that I haven't touched the theme since 2021. Because I think I loaded it up, I made the changes manually. So you can see here, same cover flow, flow control, a new camera element to control the camera, and then a flow template. So a template that lists out everything that I want inside of one of these. And look at how much I've gotten here. That's crazy. I don't need all of this, but what I do need is probably this, because I've already done the work to position. Don't think I need this either. Okay, so I've already done the work to like position what one of these things would look like. Now I need this flow template, which is essentially all of this. All right, and then we'll close that off, we'll close that off, we'll close that off, and that off. Okay, we're looking good. So we essentially have a template that has nothing in it except for a height and width of what this template should be inside of this grid. I'm saying every single item now is going to be 1080 by 384. At least height and width, whatever, and that gets adjusted based on how big size that this template will be. Okay, what I need in here funny enough, I don't need to do it in this way. This is a really old way of doing this. Reading this. Wheel banner image. Here we go. I need this path. Okay. I know, look at that, right? I should really like add some paths and stuff or references to remove all this junk. Too lazy. Let's do this. Cover flow, flow image. So I'm going to use a flow image, and I'm going to say the image path is the LaunchBox theme folder, which is basically everything up to the banner box folder inside of LaunchBox themes banner box. And then I'll just add the rest. Media, theme, background, PNG, and I'm guessing that there's something there called background PNG. And that is going to fill the entire section. I'm trying to think, is that what I want? Let's do uniform. See how good I did. And yeah, TypeScript's always yelling at you. Yeah, I probably have to go into here and like add some references to these DLLs that include all this junk that I added up here. I'm guessing. Okay. So I basically have a background image that, okay, let's see if I'm gonna break. I mean, I definitely broke the theme, but did I also break Big Box by doing that install? Hey, this is what I'm hoping. I'm hoping that I load up the platform view, and that platform view has, let's try to bypass this video as quickly as possible. That platform view has a lot of items that are nothing. There's nothing there. Guess we can change from the beautiful Game Discovery Center and just load up platforms for now by default. Yeah. Now every single game is going to have this background of nothing. We did it. What we did, I don't really know. Let's see. We need a second one. And that second one will be the overlay. I'm going to make a guess that 5 years ago, I called it overlay.png. Am I right? Yeah. So now we've got the overlay image. Oh, okay. And we've got the overlay in there. And this is the default image that's going to display when there is nothing, there's no regular banner image. What do we want that default to look like? I guess. I mean, I don't know. So here, one of two things. Maybe you guys can answer this. I could just put the clear logo. So it could be the platform clear logo. And if I wanted to have control over the size of that, I could put column definitions here, where we do something like this, and maybe this, and then I would say this, but instead of a image path, I do image type clear logo with an S, clear logos, and then I would put that inside of, oops, the middle column. I guess I need row definitions to do something similar to position it. And do well, 10, 3, 4, 3. No, I did it wrong. Is it clear logo? Oh, I'm breaking something. No, there it is. It was clear logo, not clear logos. Stupid me. So what do you guys think? Logo or text? But look, that one doesn't have a logo. So then I could do some text. Let me think about how I would do that. I believe in order to do text, you need to reach out of the template, because the template itself doesn't know any of our bindings. And you need to do this whole ancestor thingy that's listed here, this long junk. That's what I'm thinking. All right, let's try a couple things. So we could say something like display the text of the platform if the clear logo, if the game platform doesn't have a clear logo. Would that work? Well, first thing we have to do is figure out how to display text. Now, the way that you would do it, because I don't think that the template itself has no bindings, if I remember correctly, for text. I'm going to mumble my way through this. Okay. So in general, I guess I could do that. Instead of doing all this stuff and getting all fancy, why don't we just do this? We'll use the image cache. There we go. Here I'm gonna like build a whole bunch of... Alright, that looks funny. Let me turn off... Kind of curious if this will... if turning off the easing is good for this. It is. There we go. That's probably good enough, right? We already built in a fallback, and all I did was turn it off for some reason. Okay. So now that we have this, is there anything else I can add? So I could add... although we're kind of getting to 4 images per game or per platform. Flow image image type banner where the vertical alignment is the top. No, wait. I can't do that. Never mind. I'm utilizing the banner already. Okay, so I mean, it's going to be this. Here's the deal. I've only added the default thing. I haven't added the actual banners yet. And so in order to do that, I need to add the actual banners. So in order to do that, yeah, I have to do what I was just doing. Image path, image type banners, and I'll add the uniform stretch. Okay, so that should say if it has a banner. Is it banners or banner? Oh, I keep adding the S. Is that all that was? Where are you? There you are. Look at that. I can probably better position this one, can't I? A custom game image with no overlay. Do I want to get all fancy? Do I want to tell people that this game is like this because there's no banner for this game? I guess the first thing I'll do is actually position this properly. So if I do that and then push it down by 1, where is it? Okay, how about another 0.5? Oops. So you kind of want, what did I do? I definitely went and broke something. I'm not seeing it though. Why are you all the way up there? Oh, yeah, you're right. I did break that. It's because it's not anymore relative to everything else. Better, I guess? There you go. Thank you, average. Game noob. So you kind of want something like this for the game box front art. Interesting. You want it this skinny, like in LaunchBox? And you want a default. So you can include a default box art. I'm assuming you know that. Just right click your platform and add, you should see like edit the platform. You'll see like the images section on the side, and then you just add an image, like a general image that you want to use, and set it as an image type of like the default box. I can't remember, I think it's something like that we call it. And that will then automatically apply to every game in that platform that doesn't have a box, if that makes sense. That is a thing. And I believe that there's defaults for a number of the different image types. So if you don't use boxes and you wanted to use, I don't know, physical media like a cart or something, you could do that too. There you go. Okay. I mean, this isn't bad, but now that we have that, what's actually happening is it's loading the game image here, and then behind this game image, it's also loading the other 3 images. So how can I tell it, don't do that? If it has this banner image, don't load all of these things. Okay, so let's try one. So we need to set up a style, and that style is going to have the property of load image. And that load image, so let's say we set it to false right now, right? It basically means don't load this image at all. I should see an empty background right here. All right, there you go. It's not loading that image. Okay, so I'm gonna need to give this image a name. I hope this works. I'll just give it the name banner, and then I'll use a trigger to say if banner has an image, this is gonna have to be true. Oh no. If that doesn't have an image, then load this one. How are we doing now? We are not doing good. It's possible, and I kind of remember this actually. I don't think data triggers worked in the same way inside of a template. Could be wrong. I think it's this part that's the problem. This trigger. Yeah, that's what I think. I guess the first thing is we got to find out, can I display that? So if I put banner as image right there, which is a true or false thing. Let's do get very apparent. Can it tell? Nope. If I had to guess, I probably have to go into here and do this all in here. Now I gotta remember how to do the resources. Actually, I think I've got potentially something going on here. Let's see. I do. This is why I remember this. I've done it already. If I moved all of this to here, added as image, I need to force this has image thing to work. So you can kind of see here. I had to do it right here. Control template. Interesting that I had to do it this way. That's cool. Wonder why I did it in the control template though. Oh, I see. I have to do all of the logic inside of a control template. That's fun. Hoping I don't have to do that here. Can I do it this way? Nope. Might have to move on and I'll figure this out later, but I feel like I'm on the right track there. This completely requires using a grid, a resource to pull in the information that I actually need. That kind of sucks, but it looks like what I'm going to need to do. Is I'm gonna have to put a lot of stuff inside, like almost this whole thing inside of a control template, and then just do all of the work in there, bring that out into a content presenter. All thanks to WPF. Yay. For now though, for the sake of time, because I'm running low on it, I will keep it working the way that it is now. So the way that it works now is this. I don't need this right now. Well, it's not really hurting anything. This remains true, and as far as anybody knows at the moment, other than it not performing as well as I need it to, it works. Nice. Okay, so let's give it a shot. Let's take a look at how do we make this perform better. This view has a lot more stuff in it, so this might take some time. Now this view, what is this view? Horizontal wheel 2? What's number 1? Okay, that's just the one that takes a little longer. If you're wanting to sit on this a bit more. There you go. Cybermorph in all its glory. Let's do number 2, because it is faster. So we're going to edit this one and may optimize it a bit. Let's take a look at what I have. The goal for this optimization is to remove some of the clunkiness here. I'll have to review what I did here to accomplish all this stuff. So this one here could change into this. And this becomes image path. And then this becomes LaunchBox theme folder. That looks better. Same here. This does kind of two things. It utilizes the better optimized flow image, and it makes it so I'm not hard coding this path to banner box. But the theme name could be anything and it would just work. So I'm doing the same thing, yeah. Putting everything in that control template. Surprisingly, I could probably way simplify this. Let me save this somewhere because I don't think this is necessary, and these data triggers are definitely not the optimal way to do things. These triggers themselves will cause performance issues. So let's get rid of that for now. I've got kind of two overlays there. Switch out this. Make it more of a relative path. And do this work here. Okay. This visibility is collapsed, but actually visibility collapse isn't actually a good way to do it because it still loads it on kind of view load. As this way, it won't load. Hey. All right, so that should help a little bit. Let's see if I broke anything. There you go. It's actually already feeling a little better. Okay, let's just do the other work of switching out the rest of the images. So let's see how long this page is. This page is 2,307 lines. That's wonderful. So let's look for all image space. Okay, all these guys. Let's take a look. I could simplify this a lot. Do I have time? I can make this a lot less than 2,300 lines, but for the sake of time, Let's change this source to, looks like it's here. Okay. All of that, let me remember what the heck is this? This is the cart path. I feel like this could just be image type. I haven't done this in a while. I think it's carts. I mean, I'm adding the S. Every single time I added that S, it hasn't worked. Luckily, we've got this wonderful documentation that can remind me. Flow image. Parts. See, it is an S. There you go. Not going crazy. Now, because it's not in a flow control, I need to add the extra step of saying binding. I'm gonna say I did active game. That would make sense. Right, and it basically makes it so I don't need any of that, as far as I'm aware. Why is that like that? Must have did that on purpose. Render, transform, origin. Everything else looks okay. I don't need any of this. What was all of this? Don't need any of this. In fact, I do need this transform group, which I think is linked. Oh no, it's not. Okay, so I need it for just positioning, unless I'm wanting to redo all that thing, but I really don't. So let's keep that and let's see what I broke. That was this top left image. I broke the top left image. That's what I did. All right, how did I do that? I don't need this. This is the important bits. I don't think there's anything else that I need. Opacity is good. Not really reading this right. I am on a game, so that should be right. I don't need it to be in any grid. The visibility is there on the grid here. The placement is right. Don't need anything there. Yeah, I'm pretty sure that's right. Unless it's the carts. We just learned that it is carts. I mean, let's switch that to something else. Boxes. Excuse me. Look at that. So the code is right, but the cart image type isn't working. Did I spell carts wrong? Oh, you know what it is? I wonder if this isn't displaying. Oh, you know what it is? I don't have a cart for this game. That's what it is. And how did I do? I deleted it all. But how did I do the default media? Ah, see this? I have these default media things that will display if I don't have a cart image, and that's what I broke. That makes sense. How do I fix that then? Well, let's see. Low image. Binding. Should be able to do this in one line. Active game. No, sorry. So binding path equals active game dot No, I'm doing this wrong. This should just point to. No, I'm not doing this wrong. I'm doing this right. Back to being right. Just thinking about it incorrectly. Game.platform. Is that a thing? Active game.platform. Okay. Active game.platform. String format. LaunchBox theme folder. Media, whatever I did here. I might as well copy this so that I don't get it wrong. And get this correct. And get /0.png. They're all PNGs. Okay. Basically saying take the platform name, load it into this path right here, and .png, and load that image based on the platform. See my fingers. Yeah. It's back. We got the Jaguar. And of course, if I switch to links, it would display, yeah, that one, that image. Okay, so I got it. That was odd. Excuse me. Now, I don't want both to be displayed at the same time, which is basically what's going to happen here. So I'll give this one a name of game cart, and I will say for this one this is wonderful. I thought this would be a lot less involved. Or I thought I would want to be a lot less involved, I should say. Really going crazy on this. Okay, so the property is load image And we don't want this to load at all. All right. That's good. Like, it shouldn't be there. Good. Right, because if the other one has an image, we don't want this one to load in. But if this one finding does have an image, if the game cart doesn't have an image, then we want this one to have an image, or to load its image. And so at this point it will load in because it did that check, found it didn't have one. There it is. Good. Slowly cleaning up the mess. Done. Okay, so let's look at the next one. What's this? Looks like this one's the play mode option, which is on the bottom left of the screen. That also is interesting looking at that code. So it's indicating that I should, inside of the play mode folder, have a fallback image of just absolutely nothing. That's wonderful. Okay. I'm gonna cop out here. I think this should work if I just do this. That did not work. Do I need this? No, I don't think I need this. And I don't think I need this. And I think we're done. I unbroke it. Okay, play mode looks like it's still working. The animation on it still working. Okay, yeah, I'm happy doing it that way versus whatever I did before. What's all this? What's the text? Okay, next one. So I do this in the same way. I just have to remove all of this and this. Convert this here. Oops. And convert this here. Go to the next one. We're going to do the same thing. Get rid of all of this. Oh no, I think I Okay, so I did that right. I just didn't clean it out. Clean it up. Oh, previous. Okay. I think we're doing okay. Here we were. Okay, so that one's done. And we'll do one more. We don't need all of this. Cleaning up banner box one image at a time. Alright. Didn't break anything. It's a big flash. I did break something. Alright, that's wonderful. Okay, what did I break? I see. I broke the position. Wonder if this had the same problem. This one did not have the same problem. This one is the one that has the problem. Okay. All right, we're back here. So I can remove this. And I can put this here. Okay. That looks better. Yeah, that's better. Okay, where's the next one? We're on a roll. What is this? This is the controllers. Nothing here, nothing here. This one's got nothing. Oh, okay. Controller still exists. That's good. Genres, play modes, and the rating still exists. I think we're okay so far. What do we got now? Star rating, where's that? Okay, so the bottom has star rating on it. Let's make sure not getting rid of anything useful. And we should be good to go there for star rating. Next, this one is those icons. Broken, what do I have there? There's 3. It's broken, favorite, and completed. I believe they turn green if any of them are true. Okay, so I should be replacing 3 of them. I'm not seeing any animations or positioning on this stuff. Means I can remove all of this and do the same thing here for these 3. This is 1. Here's 2. And there's 3 after this one. Right here, completed. All right, let's make sure I did not break that. All right, those 3 icons are there. And just to be clear, if I were to... Can I mark this as completed? And I were to reload this view. Okay. I guess that's what I made it look like. All right, at least they work. Yeah, they're still being marked and displayed properly. I think we're almost done, actually. I don't see any other images. There's an image brush. That's it. Huh. Not too bad. And what I would basically have to do is go through this. Oh. The same stuff. I could probably optimize it more. Do it off the stream, but I gotta do this through... two more horizontal views. I've got a game details view for some reason. That can't have anything in it. What would be in there? Let me actually open the thing I was working on. What's in here? Why do I have this? I don't think I use this anywhere. Or do I? I don't know, let me cycle through all the views. This one's just a slower version of the other one. And this one just doesn't use any of that stuff. Text list, do I use it here? Nope. Okay. I mean, I could have used it there. But it's definitely not there. That's pretty funny then. Yeah. Had a view in there I wasn't even using. That's fun. Everything else does look like I've used it. So that's good. So yeah, I fixed up a platform view. I fixed up a game view. I made it so that the platform view now displays something instead of a nothing for people that want to use this platform view. And they want something to be there. And then look at that. I've got a Supervision 8000 one, but not an Atari ST. And the last thing I think I wanted to do was grab some banners from users. Let's see if I can. All right, let's take a look. Question is, anybody upload a pack somewhere? Some here. That's pretty cool. I have this feeling that these ones are, yeah, different kind of banners. Okay. So there was, a very long time ago, a thread. I'm trying to remember where it was. Somewhere here. Be looking in the wrong space. I'll look through 10 pages. If it's not there, I'll do some searches. I did. Focus Borg. All right, let's do this. I think this is the one. No, this isn't the one. Maybe it wasn't in that section. Huh, yeah, it wasn't in that section. That makes a lot more sense. Here it is. That kind of makes me wonder if because I remember pulling these banners before. So why wouldn't I have them? That's why I don't have them. I named it wrong. Guess in my defense, it was named wrong here. So maybe I'm pretty updated with the banners. Let me see in my build which one was missing. Oh, look at that. It even like found it. There you go. The supervision. I'm missing the supervision. I'm definitely missing that one from here. Okay, let's see if anybody's quick search if anybody's created one. Starfield mod list. Oh my god, is that it? I'm gonna have to switch to one. Oh, I see what the problem is. That is not the right size. Why? What size is this? Retrofrog, you finally made it in. How's it going, man? We're here just trying to solve Focusborg's Starfield mod list issue. This looks like 720p banner, and it's got a problem on the bottom and the top of it. Got a cold? Yeah, I'm definitely suffering through that. My family's suffering through that. All together, at least. Group suffering, that's what we're doing. Seems to be going around. Wait, did I save it or did I copy it? I copied it. Okay. So I was doing that right then. And that confirms that it's not the right size. But it also confirms that the top simply just looks funny. The bottom looks okay. Oops, what's going on here? What's funny is that there was in the past at least some discussion about actually supporting mods for games. Didn't get a huge amount of traction, so didn't really come to the top of the list. Yeah, there's definitely something wrong with this banner. It's also not the correct size. So close, I could have just used this. It was just the correct size. Oh, okay. Anybody else create one? But really, what we're trying to find is what you missed, Retrofrog. We took BannerBox and I created an actual default item. So if a game doesn't have a banner, it will display this now, just like a blank banner with the logo there, which is just sort of auto-generated. If they have a banner, it'll display the banner instead. But now I'm trying to think, the community probably created some banners. So I kind of want to see if I can pull some of these banners in. Now I kind of remember going through this already. Bunch of logos. And I've included 191 banners, which is more platforms than we actually support. Actually, it's more like 100 and, well, that's an unconfirmed download right there. 189, I guess. Also don't need this README file either. All right, right now we're searching for the Watara Supervision. If anybody can find one, a banner that is 1080 height by 384 width. Excuse me there. Now, I'm pretty sure, Focusborg, that said delete me. We will never know. We'll never be able to watch this back and find out. I feel like I grabbed probably most of these already. So I'm going to come to the end here and probably not have it. Could grab... what I could do... I have other banners somewhere else. I'm trying to remember. So we use these banners or similar banners in LaunchBox for Android. And so I kind of wonder if I can find them. Let's see. Terrible at finding this stuff that's hidden deep within the application files. It's got to be here somewhere, right? I wonder if I have any differences. What if I just type banner? Let's see what happens. Oh god, that's right. They were all named something really, really silly. Wonder if I could find those in the file system. I could do some renaming. Let's see, where would it be? Where would it be? It says it's under Maui. Resources. It's not here. That's fun. Yeah, I mean, I could just look here. I mean, it's right here. Oh my god, there is one. Look at that. Why can't there just be like, oh, copy full path? Okay. There we go. Was I just like on the wrong path? I was in the wrong place. Okay. How many do I have in here? Oh, well, although we've got a lot more than just these banners. Look at that. Okay. How many is this? It says 190. Isn't that the exact same list? Oh my god, no way. That can't be the only different one. That's gonna take some time to see if I actually have any differences here. I think I've included like genres and stuff in there. I don't think I included that here. Though I do have a bunch of playlists. None of them are genre based. So I think I could probably pull those too, but for now and for this video, what I'll do is we will take this one and hopefully call it correctly. And we'll take the win. There you go. We'll take the win. I think all of my platforms, which I don't have a huge amount, have the normal banner. But it looks like what I can do is I can pull some genres. I can pull... Let's see, I can pull some genres. That's the wrong one. Potentially pull some other ones. I think play modes are here. Something like that. And at least make banner box equal to what we have here on Android. Yeah, there's definitely all the genres and all of the I know I did play mode at some point because I remember doing them. Alright, and then probably call it a day. So off camera, what I'll do is I'll make sure that I have all those banners. I'll make sure that I do the same treatment to all the other game views and all of the other platform views. I'll fix up the platform view and make sure that it works and it's only displaying one image versus, I think, 4 images right now per game. And then it'll only display those other 3 images if we don't have a banner for it. And then I'll update it. I'll probably package it together, place it on the forums, and also package it together and put it on the theme manager once it's ready to go. Yeah. Other than that, oh, it's been 3 hours. If anybody has any questions before we end this, I think I got 5 more minutes. And that's been a little bit of a deep dive into banner box right there. We're going to do this every single Thursday, so please come and join me. Every week we'll talk about something a little different. This week we were talking about Starfield mods and what else were we talking about? Alice in Wonderland. That was a topic at some point. And also LaunchBox things, I'm sure, that we talked about at some point we answered the question about manuals. I really love that manual question because manuals are displayed like everywhere. And if you had maps and other things that you wanted to assign to a game, that's also displayed everywhere inside of pause screens, inside of the game details section, an additional documents area in both LaunchBox and Big Box. Kind of cool. That's right. A lot about eating ducks and cooking them. That happened. My short obsession with Mega Man and wanting to play through Mega Man 7 and Mega Man 8 at some point. We'll see how good those games are. I don't really hear a lot about those games. Wait. Focus work. So you want to not just cook a duck, but you want to be the one to hunt that duck? An average game noob. So, okay, let me see, because this is a cool request. Although I feel like you might be talking about more than one request. Are you asking for the ability for somewhere in LaunchBox, in your case you're saying the pause screen, to display what the controls in a particular game would do? Okay, so let's think about that. I've thought about this a lot. So, and maybe you guys can help me with this. In order to get that level of granularity, it would need to be a database somewhere, right? So like on, let's say on the games database, we added the ability to say, you know, somewhere. Let's use your example. Let's use a simple example of Street Fighter 2. And here, you could edit this game and you could say something like, up is jump, A is, I don't even know what it is, like high kick, low kick, medium kick, or whatever it's called. Whatever they call it, I don't know. And it would have to be named probably in the way that maybe they named it in a manual somewhere. Something like that. Fill in all that information, and then you would fill out like special moves or combos. You'd be like, this combo does this combo does that. You know, this combination of buttons will do this. You know, if you pressed A and up, it would do that at the same time versus pressing buttons in an order would do that. And we fill out all this information for like every game in the database. And then in LaunchBox, we take that information and we massage it and manipulate it so that we know what each of those things are called, like under the hood. And we can then say, okay, now that we know what these are called under the hood, whether it's like button 1, button 2, button 3, whatever Microsoft has decided to call them, we can then say, okay, button 1, here's a Xbox controller, and that A button here is button 1 in the game, or the game in like Microsoft's driver system, display this code of like that's like high kick or something. And that's all displayed. And then we can use that in like theming. So it could just be like, here's a startup theme, here's a pause theme or something, and here's the controls for this game. That sound about right? In this sense, then if somebody like changed the control, you could have controller profile. So you could basically say, well, this is I'm using a PlayStation controller. And the logic behind the scenes would know how a PlayStation controller is kind of linked up and display the information appropriately. Yeah, this isn't really SDL per se. That's something different. You don't want us to change what the controller does. You want to display what the game buttons will do for that game. What's interesting is I had built something for MAME with the help of Joe Viking. I don't know if you're there somewhere. That does this for all the MAME games. Already built a theme for it. I know that out there's like a lot of images, an image per game, right? Even like for arcade, there's be like here's somebody built like a Xbox controller image, built a theme around it. Every image could be a different game. That seems clunky. So we programmably created like the way to do all of this, to read from a file, grabbed all that data, put it in a file for like 2,000 MAME games or something like that, where it listed what each of these buttons did for every single one of those games, and then created a theme that used that information. So all the theme said was, this is what my controller is, this is where button 1 is, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, whatever. And then we just grabbed the information from that file, probably a INI or XML file or something. And we just said for this game, it loaded up and it just said, yeah, this button is jump, this button is punch or whatever. And then Joe developed a way to edit that information and update it. And at some point, we were going to get it to the point where we were going to release it to everybody. And if that sounds interesting, we could still do that. It would be like a plugin that you add into LaunchBox. What I would rather do is, instead of having the file that just of all this information that we could move around, is to actually put it on the game's database, that information. That sounds useful. Then the only games that would be missing are the ones that we just haven't added into the game's database yet. Right? and anyone can add stuff into the game's database. So if you're playing a game, you're like, I don't have this information. You just go to the game's database and you just submit it. And then we can use that information for all sorts of stuff. Whether it's like a section inside of the pause screen that's just called controls and just displays your controls. And at that point, the only thing that's limiting us is, I mean, people would have to follow like the rules of whatever it is. I could see some issues, right? I could see some issues with like there'll be specific games where you're just like, what are we supposed to do? Like, I don't know what we're supposed to do for like, what would you do for Duck Hunt? Other than just say, well, it's a gun, and there's one button, and that button shoots. Do you think? Give me some examples of a game that was released for different versions that had completely different controls. Do you think that would be a thing? Can anybody think of a game offhand? Like you would have an Xbox 360 game, and like in North America, it would control this way, but over here, in wherever, Japan or something, it has different controls. It would control a completely other way. A does something else. Never thought about that, but it's possible that that's true. Like certain regions, people are used to playing a game in a different way than other regions. Let's stick with like one platform. Do you think so scar me, is that like the Xbox controller had different buttons in Japan for the same console, for like the Xbox 360? Interesting. Is that what you're saying? Xbox 360 Japan controller. So the controller still said AB on it. And I'm thinking, okay, well, the control name would be the same, but you think that the buttons themselves would do something different. Like, would A go back or something, and B goes forward in like their menus? It would be something like that. Because if that's true, then yeah, we would have to do something like the alternate name system where we can apply a region to a specific controller layout. Hmm. Hmm. Yeah, there's that problem where a particular game could have many different, like a button could do many different things depending on where in the game you are. And how do we represent that? And do people want to see all of that? Would you want to see that? If you're playing a game and that game has like 5 different game modes, let's say, throughout the whole game, it's some RPG or something, and they've got 5 mini games in it, and I don't know, the A button does 5 different things throughout the game. Do you want to list all 5 of those things? Give each one like a category? Like in Big Box or LaunchBox, or you go into like controls and you're like, let's show me what the controls are, and it's like 5 categories of things that every single button does throughout that game. Or let's say a game had not mini games, that's a bad example. Just like 5 different modes throughout it. But a game where like, yeah, you're walking, but you could also drive. But you could also like shoot. And a button will be different in all of those scenarios as you're playing. So you would like go into what are my controls, and it'll be like, when you're in drive mode, this is what it is, and when you're in like running mode, this is when, and when you're in this mode, this is what you'd do. And here's all the special things related to all of those categories. Yeah, it is a rabbit hole that you'd have to jump through, and you'd have to make sure that that infrastructure, whatever we build, if we decide to build that, can facilitate all of these to a point. Like we would probably have like, oh, this one platform of 6 games, we can't do that, but like everything else we could do or something. Like there's got to be some limit, but focus board, yeah. Some games have 10 pages dedicated to controls. And then knowing that for those games we probably can't display all of that on one screen, or it would be very tiny. Or we have some way to paginate that stuff and like have multiple pages of controls for those outlier games that do have that. Now, you have to think about that, because for some of these games, especially like for arcade, if you're gonna play it like an arcade game, you have an arcade cab. You kind of want every single game's gonna have different controls. That makes sense. That you want to know what these controls do before you play them. As you play them, they're gonna do something completely different, and not all of the buttons that you have do something. As soon as you get to like like Nintendo, let's say, there's two buttons, a start and a select. I mean, it would be nice to know that A jumps and B does this, and then maybe there are some games, some outlier games, that have very complicated controls. And sometimes A and B together does something else. Sometimes A left does something different than A right. So we could map all of that out. And we can allow users to do that. And it'd be an interesting thought. I mean, this is an interesting thought process here. A thought experiment. Yeah, arcade is only easy because people have already done the work. There's already a controller like thing in MAME itself that has documented all the controls for MAME that we could use as a starting point. Yeah, see, RA or RetroArch maps the controller. It doesn't really know on a per game basis what each button does for that game. I mean, that's the interesting part to me. There's another thing, like entirely outside of this, that's controllers in particular that would be interesting to do. And that's so like we could start manipulating controls inside of emulators. This is also going to be a rabbit hole, so definitely hold up your pants, ED, because this can go deep. It sounds simple, right? We want to open up LaunchBox, say, hey, I use this controller. These are my buttons or whatever. Now just tell all the emulators I throw at you to use that controller scheme that I just told you. Focus board. Gran Turismo on the PS2 supports so many controllers and accessories. Yeah. Which one do you have? Do we have support for multiple accessories per game? And Orion's Angels, welcome in. You're coming in at the very end, unfortunately, but I'm glad that you came in here. How you doing? This is not simple at all. Yeah. Yeah, some games would be a huge map. Cool, Orion. Yeah, no, glad you came. We're just having a thought experiment about controllers. Yeah, Retrofog. Can you imagine some games just having every like I saw someone say, because this is it's a common request, Street Fighter or Mortal Kombat, I want all of the controls to appear and all like the combo moves and all of it to appear on the bezel. I'm like, okay. Like this was a request that someone made. How small do you think the font would have to be to facilitate that? The OG Elite, Frontier 2. Some of the like arcade games had like a whole keyboard worth of buttons. A 100-inch TV. Yeah, you'd be fine. Those people. We all have one of those, right? Yeah, I think the ones that did have the moves on the bezel didn't have a lot of moves in that game. That comes to the point, like, at a specific point, we could collect that data, but there would probably be a limit on some games, these outliers, whatever the percent of games those are, 5%, where it just wouldn't work for those games. Like, we would display it, but it would just doesn't make sense. And then maybe the line is don't support like multiple different kinds of accessories. Keep that fence somewhat like to a point where this could succeed versus it just being like way too big and too complicated that users don't even know how to add it to the game's database. It's like they need to read a manual to start adding stuff into the database. That's an interesting question. Do people feel the need? Did any of you guys feel the need to write yourself notes while you're playing a game? That's a different question. Does a program need to do that? Or can you just open up like a notepad or something? Would we just be recreating Notepad or something like that? Or sticky notes. Like we're just building what people already use, but in a slightly different way. Anyway, back to what I was saying. Like there's another thing with controls. So like one common request is, okay, just set up a control. Just open up LaunchBox. Say I've got an Xbox controller. Maybe you have some controller and you just say like, yeah, this is what it is. These are my buttons. And maybe you map them to a specific controller profile. Maybe we're Xbox here, right? Because we're Microsoft and that's the X input situation that we live in. And then you just sticky notes all over your monitor. That's right. Over the game screen, everything. Anyway, so like you map it in LaunchBox and then we send that information and we do all this manipulation in like the INI files or whatever the emulator uses, config files. And we tell them, well, you're using this controller. Make it work. Like whatever emulator it is, make it work for this guy and for this controller. And then you could have multiple different controllers that you have, whatever. Maybe you got one of these guys. If I can even find it there. You got one of these guys and you're just like, okay, I've got this controller, make it work. Send it to the emulator. There's an argument, right? If we're doing all this manipulation, we could be ruining what people have already set up. Right, Focus Board? You've already done the work. You went into the emulators. You set it up the way that you wanted to set it up. And LaunchBox comes in and says, no, no, no. Delete. We're setting this up for you. Now on the other side, if that worked in the more emulators that we support, you wouldn't have to do all that configuration. I mean, in theory, because we would just do it for you. And then let's say you bought another controller. We could, I guess, you could be like, okay, I've got like 3 controllers. Now I'm using this one. And then so we send that profile out to the emulator, like as you launch it. And if we're doing that, then we can do like game specific controls on your controller and send that to the emulator when you play that game. Problem here, I mean, RetroArch already does this. You can set that up. You can set controllers up. You can set controllers up on a per game basis, a per platform basis, a per content directory basis. So we'd kind of be duplicating that work. Yeah, so you wouldn't want that. You just want what the controls do. Which, in essence, yeah, the manual does tell you that if you have it. And I would say that's one argument against all of this work that we laid out, like collecting all the collecting all of this information in the game's database, doing all that stuff, getting it all ready, downloaded, taking up space, taking up resources, and ED comes along and just says, you know, you can just open up the manual that you already have, and there it is. You're like, but like, how about if I don't want to use the manual? How about if I don't want to click on those extra buttons? Is that amount of work that we laid out that it would take to get there worth it? Maybe one day. I mean, one thing that we could do is just make the game's database start collecting this stuff. I mean, it's the chicken and egg argument. What comes first? The feature? Or the information that would allow you to use that feature? You're adding manuals, guides, and links to some reviews for every game. Sounds like you've played the game of LaunchBox well. Yeah, you would need Emmy movies to get those manuals, or you would get them yourself through all the different manual game places that are out there. Another thing with controls that we could do, sticking with controls. So in LaunchBox, we have a manage game controllers section. and you can add your own controllers. We have some files that facilitates a lot of them. We also pull that information from, I believe, Steam at the very least, right? So you can see that some of these games from Steam will say that this supports controllers, and some will not say that they support controllers. But what we don't have, so even like, I think NES, let's see, controller support, there's light gun, there's your light gun games. All that information is stored in files that comes with LaunchBox. All that really means is that it's hard, the community can't participate in filling out or fleshing out this information. If we moved this information to the game's database, where you could be like, yeah, this game uses a light gun, this game uses this special accessory and it's called this game uses, like Astrobob says, the those Donkey Kong bongo drums, and you can get that information into the game's database, and we can pull that information. Would people want to participate in making that information better? Is that effort worth it? Is anybody in LaunchBox going, man, that I looked up Donkey Konga, but it doesn't say that it uses drums. In fact, the GameCube has no controller support information out of the gate. You would have to do that all manually. Oh, Focusborg? Yeah, that is 100% coming. That whole Wikipedia thing, I mean, you could tell that this was 10 years ago when this was made, because yeah, Wikipedia is not like the source that you would think of to go to for game information. So we'll probably make it more open-ended. You can choose where you're deciding to add links from, or we might make it just a bit more fenced off wall. Maybe we'll see what we come up, but definitely changes are coming there. Yeah, that one I think is a no-brainer. I don't know, that's a good discussion topic. Would you want people to be able to link to any old anything? These like mom and pop review website link to this and then send it in? Or would you want us to choose a list of like 30 to 50 prominent places and keep everybody inside that sandbox? Okay, Focusborg. We're talking different from LaunchBox. We're talking specifically for the game's database information. So in LaunchBox, you could actually use the you can use the custom fields. So you could put like a value in here, anything, give it a name, and then paste your URL here. And I'm pretty sure, let's see, correct me if I'm wrong. So if I looked up Donkey Kong Jungle Beat review, and I'm like, here's one from IGN, and I just go IGN review and do that, for example. Wonderful. I don't know which version. Oh, did I install? If this doesn't work, I'll make it work. I feel like we made this work. I don't even know what version I'm on now. And you can add your own links is basically what I was trying to get to in LaunchBox. And we will continue to support that. But I'm more looking at the game's database. What information should we collect for all to see? Should it be anything? Should anybody be able to add to the database any link from anywhere? Or should we keep them within some form of walled garden of some kind? And you would like search the name in some capacity and then post your link. I mean, there's a lot we could do. There's definitely a lot more. So we control this walled garden with a whole bunch of popular websites. And then people can add their own stuff to their own LaunchBox. So if we added like 50 websites that people can add, just overwhelm you guys. And if you wanted to add something from somewhere, you can. Yeah, databases can get out of control. Now, I do think we need to change just having Wikipedia. That can't be. Yeah, like this whole discussion, we're probably talking about a small portion of our user base that will click any of these links at any given time. This is definitely a niche request. Now, from a database standpoint, it does make sense to add a few more places. And probably not that much more work. One thing, and I'll leave this because it's getting pretty late, but one thing that you guys can think about. That's right, sounds like a good item for the Bitbucket replacement. Would you guys want this? Play a game. Let's say I'm playing Donkey Konga, and on here there's a new section, I don't know where I'd put it, that lists the characters that are in this game. Donkey Kong and Diddy Kong, and you click almost like a cast or something, like, and you click Diddy Kong and it brings out I don't know, maybe a page that lists all of the games that Diddy Kong was ever in. Exactly, game new. It's a character database that would need to be built. Is that interesting for you? And then let's say that database exists and we're using it and people are adding to it on the games database. That information could then be used, let's say, for the related games feature to make that more prominent. That could be used on the games discovery center to make those lists list some more cool things. Like, hey, you played this Mario game, and in that Mario game, this secondary character is in it, and that secondary character is also in all of these other games that you might not have known. So, Focusborg, you would be on board. to use it in this theoretical world where that already exists. And we're talking like Mario, and this would become more powerful for games that you don't really know that well. Like you're looking up some old MS-DOS games, and you're just like, huh, I didn't know that that exists, and that character's in it. I mean, a lot of people would probably use it for, they would choose a game that they do know, and they'd find all of these other games that they didn't know existed with those same characters. Would there be a lot of images of characters? Yeah. Yeah, I guess to make it look pretty, you definitely need that. LaunchBox would probably just download one. It probably wouldn't even need to be that big. But yeah, this would be a feature that would balloon the database and your personal database. Yeah, and out of the whatever million games that are out there, hundreds and hundreds of thousands, how many do we really know? I mean, I feel like I know a lot of games, but I feel like I could still get surprised. Yeah, but then there's the con, right? Game Noob, you've got the con of like, is the trade-off of all this information and going down this rabbit hole worth the ballooning of your LaunchBox folder? And your database files and like all that stuff. There's another idea. Do we want a database of the people that created the games? And we would probably just use text for that. So the trade-off would be, I don't know, like worst case scenario, like 5 megabytes of database XML file storage for your library. Yeah, and voice actors, all that stuff. I feel like if we did go down that rabbit hole, I mean, we would need to go down that rabbit hole, include everybody. So some of these games would have a lot of people. I mean, it would be equivalent to just like, I don't know, like looking at a movie and seeing the credits. Like, sometimes there'd be a lot of people. Yeah, that could be different. There are different regions. That's true. Interesting thought processes. Interesting thought experiments here. Yeah, I think I'm gonna call it and leave you guys with that. And we'll keep discussing this every week. So come back next week, all of you guys, and we'll talk more about this stuff. And we'll get further and more things and go in deep. Hopefully, this week we'll have all of the stuff that I discussed at the beginning. I have the new moderator program, the new feature request system, ticketing system, all that stuff should be out. And I want to get the Android beta out, but our Android developer is fairly badly sick right now, so I'm hoping that he gets better. Nothing crazy, but sounded like a really bad flu. Once he's better, we'll get the new beta out. We'll have a new beta for Windows fairly soon, if not this week, Monday. And then we'll talk to you guys next Thursday. Yeah, come back. We'll do this every Thursday. Everything you asked for, Focusborg. Or at least everything that I said at the beginning of the stream, which I don't know if you were there. You might have missed. The Twitch chat, yeah. You just spread the word. Like if people want to shape LaunchBox, you come to this stream every Thursday. And that's how you get cooking books inside of LaunchBox. All right. I'll leave it at that. Thanks, guys, for coming. We'll see you next week. Take care, guys.